Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, it is Sunday night. It is time for another live stream. I was waiting for the live count to hit 50, and I thought, Jesus, it's never going to happen at this rate. I may as well start, but it just did it as I hit the button. Hello there, hello there, hello there. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the new leaks we've had for the DJI Neo. We're going to talk about my delivery from Cadex. Yes, I have a set of Goggles L. Yes, I have a GT VTX, and wow, have I gotten some interesting thoughts on this. Very interesting product. Some of it good, some of it bad. Some of it is, ooh, I wonder why they've done that. We're going to talk about gimbals galore because I literally have more gimbals for FPV than I know what to do with. It's like in 1 week, everything arrived. We're also going to talk about DJI's compatibility mess a little bit and just sort of finish off that subject because I put out my mammoth video this week on that, and it was mammoth. That's been a few weeks in the making, actually, and it just kept growing. And for my Patreons who got an early look at it, you'll laugh because you saw the early look, and I had some people say, it'd be cool if you could add this, or it'd be cool if you could add that, and it was like, oh my god, I need to go back in and do this stuff. Which has also then driven the new version 5 FPV chart as well, which we'll talk about in a minute. And we will talk about anything else that comes up along the way as well. Now, I hope you are all amazing. I hope you are all well. I hope you've had a good week. There's been a lot going on in my world this week, especially in the evenings and where I've been doing testing, because literally a load of stuff arrived at once. But yeah, interesting times indeed. Interesting to see the DJI ban might not all be quite over and things may be heading that way again on that. What is really, though, interesting, it just seems to be the amount of products that DJI seem to be having ready to push out the door. You know, right now it looks like that... you know, we've got the Neo, we've got probably a new set of goggles to go with it. On the FPV side, we've got Mavic 4, Air 3S, or maybe Air 4. There is another unknown drone, which looks like a DJI Tello. This is something completely different, and we'll talk about that as well. And yeah, there seems to be a lot in flight. A new action camera. Do we know if the Neo will take goggles? Yes, it will. That I am 99.9% sure of. Do I think the Neo will be FPV Goggles 3 or 2? I'm not so sure. We'll talk about that as we move through. But yeah, now, before we get into it, I am just going to talk about the DJI Compatibility video I put out this week. If people didn't see it, it was a biggie. I just want to thank everyone for... I've had a really great feedback on that video. It's a monster. For those who haven't seen it, it is a monster of a video to put together. What did it come out at time-wise in the end? I'm not exactly sure, actually. I don't remember. Let's have a look. If we go to the desktop, it is this one here. I don't expect a video like this to get great views. Simply because it's a long burner. It's only had 1,800 views. It's very low, but what did it come out at? Was it really over an hour? No, that's the goggles repair video. Sorry, that one went live this week. There you go. That one there. Sorry. What did this one come in at? 39 minutes. So that was a biggie. And there's so much we talk about in this video. It really is. I put it together in the best possible way I could. But yeah, it's a biggie. Now, as a result of this, there is an updated chart now added onto the wiki at the top here under DJI. I do need to do some tidying up on here. But there is now the updated chart, which is incredibly big. If you notice, it'll take a while to show up, but there is a PDF download option here as well, which gets you this version, which is big, but I've added a lot to it now. So if I zoom in there, it'll eventually get there. Give it a chance. There you go. So we've got stuff like the firmware. Range limit is on the chart now. And I also added at the bottom a lot more info, and there's stuff down here like the FCC hacks and stuff like that That's all. OSD compatibility, I added info on. So what you need to do to get the OSD, FCC hacks and mods, and how to do the FCC hacks. There was loads of info added on it, and yeah, this is about as comprehensive as there is. So if we look at the Runcam link, which is the Vista, you know, let's go to the Vista just because we all know what it is. It's compatible with the Vista. It shows us the remote controls. It shows us all of the stuff. It's a mammoth chart, but look, it's there if people want it. It's available on the wiki. Someone also asked me about a DJI frequency chart. I do have one there as well at the bottom here. For people who don't know, there is one here. Now, this hasn't been updated for the Avata 2, but it's the same. So the Avata 2 and 03 and the Avata 1 all behave the same from a channel allocation point of view, so there's no change. So with regards to the Avata 2, treat it like the Avata 1, and it will be the same for 04 as well, because we know that with the Avata 2. So this chart still stands today. Just follow 03 for Avata 2 and you'll be fine. It's as simple as that. But I will update it with some updated wording as well for people, just so people are happy. Just a quick one on the Goggles 3 with the 03. I've seen some reports of people having really poor range, but nothing dramatic. And I've also seen people having reports of absolutely fine. There also does appear to be a bit of a quirk with the Goggles 2 and the Avata 2 with the ham file, that it doesn't always enter 50 megabits a second. It gets stuck on 15 megabits a second. There is so much going on there. We're not really sure the cause, but if you are getting your Avata 2 stuck in 15 megabits a second, switch it to manual channel mode and it will work fine. It only seems to happen in auto, and I have seen this on the bench as well. So that is a bit of a strange bug to be aware of. So stuck at 15 megabits a second. Not really sure what to make of that other than what we've seen. Now, obviously, while we're on DJI, this will move us nicely into the leaks this week for those who haven't seen. And I have talked about these products already, but we now have some proper leaks of the upcoming Neo. This is it. The Avata Mini is what I'm going to call this. The Avata 2 Mini. It is a smaller drone. It is a Whoop-style FPV drone. It is shipping with the RCN2, which is quite interesting. A little bit unexpected, that. It is not going to ship with the DJI FPV remote, and we've seen sort of proof that is the case. Interesting product. This is a fake, right? You see this box here. This is a fake. Right. This is not designed for us. This is an entry-level, get into FPV, sort of cross between the DJI Spark in the old days, the original Mavic Air, and the Avata 2 and the Avata 1. I suspect it will ship with the 03 camera. It is 04 based, but it only has 2 antennas. It's a much more limited drone in almost every way. It is... Tello isn't really the right term for this. It's in a different league to the Tello. It's still based on 04, and it does still appear to be using the same sort of camera setup as the Avata 2, although it might be a different camera. The mini series of the Avata is the right term to use. If you imagine the Mavic Mini was a mini version of the Air, this is a mini version of the Avata. And really, that's all there is to be said about it. This is every bit entry level. This is all about getting more people into FPV. Now, the noise that I've heard is we think this will there'll be a very budget set of goggles to come with this. There was an image that landed tonight on my Discord. I don't actually know where this image came from. Let me just find it. This image landed tonight on my Discord, which shows the DJI Neo. What is actually quite interesting about this image is I don't think that's taken on an OLED display, for starters. First of all, I think that's taken on a box goggle based on the size of the screen. And notice there's no O3 showing on that list either. And that's the interesting thing. But again, this really isn't designed for FPV users. This is entry level, getting people into FPV. The Mavic Mini or the Mini series of FPV. This isn't a racer. This isn't anything like this. It's even got some of these like special modes on the top, like auto modes that you can select on a button. I do believe you'll be able to fly it with only Wi-Fi as well, from what I've worked out on the FCC filings. It's a bit of a selfie-style drone, is what the term I'll use. What has sort of been interesting is there is another thing as well, which sort of looks a bit like the Spark, which is this thing here. This was sort of seen on this video here, look. This is official. This is DJI. And people thought at first this was it. I really don't know what this is. Whatever it is, it looks really cheap. Really cheap. This looks a lot more like a big Tello to me. I have no idea what this is, but we know it is legit. And again, it's flying with the DJI RC2. So yeah, look, there's an interesting slew of products around the corner, including then what looks to be the Mavic 4, the Air 3S, or the Air 4. This is a weird one. Now, people have said, oh, Neo, this is not the Neo. That is not the Neo. I don't know what that is. I really don't know what this is, but it is not the Neo. So, yeah, interesting times. There's really not a lot to say other than that on it. That's really all we're gonna. That's all we're really gonna get until it comes out. But this does look particularly cheap, if I'm honest. Looks weird. Almost looks like a kit drone. Do we think DJI could sell a kit FPV drone for kids? Something weird about it. Look, it's got like spokes. No, it's not 10 blades. It looks like it's dual blades, but with these like spokes around it. Weird. Weird, weird, weird. Very strange indeed. So, that's where we're at on the DJI Leaks. There's really not a lot to share on that. Now, just catching back up on the chat. Scrolling up. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Yeah, Gal, we did say, yeah, you did say it was coming back. Do I have any news regarding HD0 AIO for Whoops? I don't. I'm sorry. Look, all I know is this existed in a ready-to-fly drone. I don't know anything else. Do they bang out $100 goggles now? No, but I wouldn't be shocked if these are $150. Is it worth buying the Wolf Snail helmet, or is it better to buy the Fat Shark Recon? I don't recommend you buy any Fat Shark product. I haven't tried the Fat Shark goggle. Fat Shark is not a brand I recommend on this channel. As far as I can see, if you're interested in getting a budget goggle for digital, the Avatar HD one is as cheap as it gets, the Goggles L. It is not without its issues, I will add. Fairly minor, but not without its issues nonetheless, which I'll talk a little bit about in a minute. Thomas Nagel is talking about TBS Tracer, firmware from the end of 2023 or later to inform you switch your baud rate to 0.9K to utilize only the RF mode that Tracer has, which is 500 Hertz. And it has the same range as the old 250 Hertz. Okay, that's cool. Are you going to collab with Stu, UAV Futures? I know nothing about this. Stu's been banging out some great content. Fair play to him. Yeah, what a place Stu has to fly. If I owned that garden, my God. He's been smashing out some amazing content. And live streams. It's good to see him live streaming. He got bitten by OBS the other day. It always happens. If OBS can shit all over you just before going live, it will. Nice work, important information. I just put a Vista in my Apex Micro. Very nice. Still puzzled why everyone goes to DJI, no questions asked. Why? FPV clearly is a byproduct of their stuff and not actually what we need. Agrees HG0 and Walkstand is what we need. The real Joel B. DJI produced the most reliable and overall the best performing all-round product in FPV. Why does DJI people go to DJI? Because it generally just works. Avatar is probably the most compatible alongside HD0. HD0 is very good, but it is a very... It's not very narrow scope, but it is a much narrower scope product. And that is just the reality of it. When it comes to a product that works out of the box, that is easy to use, DJI win. And they win on the experience. And the experience is very, very good. It isn't perfect. It doesn't have the longest range. It doesn't have the widest compatibility. It doesn't have all of the bells and whistles that people may want on OSD. And it doesn't allow for flying ultra-long range because it's got a limitation. But it has some of the best image quality, the best DVR quality, the decent goggles, and a product that just works. And that is why they are where they are. They make the best polished product there is, without doubt. Goggles 3 chart and Goggles 3 page still needs... Yes, it does. Catching down on the chat. Coming after the Pavo 20 and GoFilm 20. I'm not sure they are, Bidetta. I think they're coming after new users. Look, selling people who already have drones new stuff doesn't make a lot of money. Why do you think the FPV industry is already in so much trouble? Because it's trying to sell more new stuff to people who've already got stuff. DJI don't play that game. DJI want to play the game of dragging new people in. Barely larger than a disc one? Yeah. So an upgraded Spark. I think so, Eric. That makes sense. Evening, Carby. Another planned DJI Lake. Man, they are predictable. Yeah, they play it every time. Joseph Mendes says, have FPV content makers slowed drastically, or have they just been taking out the algorithm? I can only comment for myself. So I think you're seeing two things on content. There are a lot less products launching this year. That is very noticeable. You know, we've just come through a whole slew of radio updates. Okay, T15, which is a really nice new radio. The Boxer Crush, which is a facelift, is the right term for use on that. We've seen a big contraction in general new products. Now, Cadex are rattling along with what they do, but everyone else is sort of going quite slow. So you're having content creators make less content. There is without doubt a contraction happening. There are people who are not able to make money out of drones as much as they were. And you're now not seeing them make content. Now, What I'm about to say is a bit controversial, but don't be under the illusion, don't be under any illusion that there are a lot of people who are doing this to make money. And if they're not making money, they're not making content. And I'm not talking about Bardwell. I'm not talking about Bot or I'm not talking about our closer knit FPV group. Okay? You know, the likes of Bot, Rosser. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about this wider content. The people who make DJI and crossover content, you know, don't be under any illusion. There was a lot of money pouring in, and that money is dried up, and therefore they're not making content. FPV is probably slowed as well. You know, look, there is no money outside of being the top 1 to 2 people who make content in FPV that can pay your bills, okay? The only man in FPV who can make content to pay his bills is Bardwell. Is JB. Because of his sheer size, his sheer reach, his sheer back story of content. Everyone else is not making a living from it. They're making a living from something else. So, as for a contraction, yeah, I think you might see it. If I talk about myself, I have reduced the content output because last year was silly. Because it was silly. Just catching down. Just going down. All the money's in cheers. Shout out to F2M Toolbox. Just saw your video. Great. Yes, I haven't seen it yet, but they have an update coming. Drunecast maybe too. He's full-time, I think. Yeah, but he's not strictly FPV. Drone Camps is not strictly FPV. He was drones as well. A Patreon helps hugely, 100%. Yeah. Look, you know, no news about DJI 04. There won't be any real news about 04 until the end of the year. Look, Avatar is very good, but it's not perfect. It's got its issues. It's got its quirks. It's not that it's really unreliable. How much did you make on it? 187, about £1.25. You know, there are a few bigger content creators outside of Bardwell, like Drone Camps and others. But, you know, making a real living from this is impossible. You look, if you just look at Bruce has got 2 channels on 100K. Someone asked this question on my Discord today. They were talking about there was a Cybertruck video that went up, and he's had 6 million views in about a week or something. And one of the guys asked, is that enough to buy him a Cybertruck? And here's the truth, right? That 6 million views in a week would have netted him about between $1,500 and $3,000. Whistling Diesel. So that 6 million views would have netted him between $1,500 and $3,000. Somewhere in that range, depending on his CPM and rates. So a 6 million view video would have netted him under $3,000 this month. And the view rate on that will fall off quickly. If you were getting $1,500 a month on that video, you'd be a happy man, but you won't. He's got 6 million up, and then it will roam through from there. 04 unit release date, 9th of the 8th, 8th of the 9th. I very much doubt we'll see this before Christmas. It's not remotely ready. I'm not even sure it even exists yet. I don't even believe hardware exists today. Yes, sponsorship is great, but if you talk about YouTube income, it's minimal, trust me. Now, JB is, here's the truth. JB is the master at this. He genuinely is how you do it. And, people need to understand if you're going to do this full time, you need to pay your bills. And JB is the epitome of, how to make it work. And there are others who might have drone camps and others, they may be successful. That's great. But I mean, in the FPV niche that there is, it's hard. Snap my Nazgul DC arm today. Any recommendation? Clone X frames for freestyle. I'd get another arm. It's not the most durable, mind the Nazgul, but I would just get another arm. If you can. The only downside is how you can get the parts. It's $32 per million views on a short, yeah. On a short, it's even worse. And he also has Blunty. Yes, he does. JB has Blunty as well, so Beast will be in prison before long. Not sure about that, yeah. Okay. So, the next subject, whilst we are talking about Cadex, it is time to talk about two things. Now, I need to open a bag. Because I was out flying these today. First couple of flights on the Goggles L. I have some interesting opinions. But I've also been doing a massive deep dive on this VTX today. Now, you're going to have a video on this VTX coming in the next week. It isn't a review because, look, let me be honest. I cannot review this VTX legally in the UK. I cannot use this VTX on any power level above 25 milliwatts. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you how good this VTX is in 2000 watts. That's not the content you're going to get from me. What I am going to do is tell you what I believe the RF power output is like compared to the likes of DJI on 1200 milliwatts, on a comparison on the spectrum analyzer. We're going to do a deep dive into the RF behavior on this because there is so much going on in this. It's crazy. We are going to do things like this. So, for instance, when I find my mouse, I've lost my mouse. You're going to see a talk about the RF power levels. We're going to talk about the difference between DJI and this. And yes, it is definitely more power than 1200 milliwatts. We're also going to talk about the RF setup and the quirks on this VTX as well. We're also going to talk about this. And what you're about to see here is this VTX arm. And let me show you something. That is the video carrier. Does anyone spotted anything on the band when it armed? I don't know if you've seen. You might have noticed like a really tiny amount of interference that may have appeared when it armed. I don't know if you spotted it at all. I'll just jump backwards just in case you missed it. It's keep your eyes peeled, right? Because you've got to watch for this because you might miss it. Wait for it. Yeah. So keep your eye out. Yeah, I don't know if it's yeah. So there are some quirks to this thing. Now, to be fair, it's not like this all of the time. But what the fuck is this? Is the term I'm going to use. What? I almost fell off my chair when I saw this. I was like, what? And yes, I am not joking. And it actually starts to fade away after a period of time. Yeah, there you go. Wait a minute. Watch this now. That's me moving the frequency around to have a look at it, because I was like, what is this as well? Why is that there? What is all of this? Why? And, ooh, it suddenly started to disappear, look. And now, but yeah. Now, it is possible to get it clean. I don't know if it's on this video. Not in this video, it isn't. But yes, there are some things you need to be aware of. What I will say is this. Whoever designed this VTX, they've got some RF chops. This is an incredibly interesting designed VTX. There's a lot of hardware in this as well. A lot going on, which I'll have to explain in the video. An awful lot going on in this VTX. For those who don't know, that's the internal antennas for the low power mode, because it does have special internal antennas for low power mode only. What I will say is it's actually fine on 2000 milliwatts. The problem actually seems to be on the lower power levels. I have found something, though, I am very surprised at in this VTX. And you're going to have to wait for the video. Yeah, but actually the low power mode isn't related to those antennas. It's even worse than that. It's not the antennas causing it. It's basically the fact that there is no power output in low power mode. Something to be aware of is the way Avatar works today is low power mode is 25 milliwatts. Avatar today doesn't have anything below low power mode. So low power mode on Avatar is 25 milliwatts. So if you set it to 25 milliwatts on ARM, nothing changes. It's the same. But if you set it higher, it's at. This VTX's low power mode is not 25 milliwatts. I can't even detect it on the spectrum analyzer. It's so low. I actually think they are running it I think they're running it before the preamp. I think they're actually running the RF output before the preamps. So they're shutting down the main amps and running it on preamps, is what I think they're doing. The circuit tract is also incredibly interesting. Incredibly interesting. And that's a big video. It's going to be a 35 or 40 minute. So you're going to have info coming on this. It is going to be a complete deep dive into it. It's going to be an interesting one. It is definitely going to be an interesting one, so keep an eye out for it. Overall, it's actually a very good VTX. And look, this isn't... Flying it on 2000 watts is fine. The only thing I will say is this. Whoever decided it was acceptable, right, to put that SD card slot on this should be sacked. Whoever decided that we're going to put a non-latching SD card on this needs to have their... Honestly, the SD card slot is stupid. There is no excuse for the SD card slot on this VTX. There is so much room inside this VTX when you tear it down. It's crazy. It's insane. No one should have used that. It's just terrible. Absolutely terrible. There's loads of space in this VTX. But yeah, It's just overall though, it's interesting. And the UFL still sucks. Yeah, most of them are. The UFLs are okay. They're not too bad. Look, they provide you with those super convenient pull tabs. Yeah. Just don't go there. How many people are going to put the SD card in this out the box and never get it back out? I don't know. Because it goes in so flush, you're not getting it out. You are not getting it out. It is ridiculous. I don't know how many people realize how flush it is. It goes in beyond that. It's just dumb. Security, yeah. No, you won't get it out with tweezers. No. You're taking it apart to get it out. Look, let me put a bit of tape on one and show you. Because I'm not even willing to whisk it without a bit of tape. I've never lost an SD card out of a VTX today. So I'm going to put a bit of tape on this because I don't want to have to tear it down again to take this out. So. So let me make sure it's all the way in. It comes with tape in the box. It does. But it's still stupid. Utterly stupid. Look how far in that SD card is. It is ridiculous. It's not empty, but there's plenty of space in there. It's not as tight as the Moonlight. It's certainly not as tight as the Moonlight. But yeah, not a bad VTX. It will still overheat on the bench. It will still overheat. It does try to keep itself under control. Yeah, still two boards. But there is something I found, which I find very bizarre, which I'll talk about in the video. And that could even be why you're seeing... yeah, it will overheat on the bench, even with the fan. Yes. Yeah. But that is at my room temperature in here, which is like 25 degrees. The fan cannot fully keep it under control. Also, the ceramic antennas for low power mode operations seem less relevant if you don't have to power it up to access your onboard flash. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I don't really... Clearly, whoever decided... whoever designed, I should say, the RF side somewhat knew what they were doing. It should be fine if you're running it on a quad. It just, on the bench, on static air, it's going to overheat in a room that's, say, 20 degrees. In about 2-3 minutes. Yes, you could. The thing to understand, though, is this. So, this fan is cooling the RFPAs. Mounted to the bottom of the board here is the main chipset. So you've got no cooling for this. So this fan is... So the way it's designed is you've got the RF board on the top and the processing board on the bottom. That is the lid of the main ASIC there. That's what's been cut out. Then you've got the transceiver here and you've got a voltage regulator. But this is cooling the power amplifiers, the PA board, nicely. But you're relying on passive cooling still for this bottom end. So if you really wanted to seal this up, this really needs two fans. I think you might get away on a quad with plenty of airflow without the fan. No, the fan is standard. That's how it comes from the factory. So it's going to need, it's going to need airflow over the bottom. it's definitely going to need airflow over the bottom because your main CPU board is that side. But there's tons of empty space in here. Inside here to here, it's much easier to take apart than the Moonlight. It doesn't have a stupid ribbon cable like the Moonlight. You could put the top fan on the bottom, but then the top end could overheat. I think, look, it's designed for any high power application. How it will behave in hot conditions remains to be seen. You know, inside here, let me just check something because I'm starting to get things flash up on Discord and I don't know what they are. And I don't know where they are either. I've just had 9 notifications appear on Discord. It's not on my Discord, so that's fine. I think it's someone's been spammed on another one, is what I think. Yes, it is. Someone's been spammed somewhere else. Sorry. I think it's going to depend on the airflow. You know, in here we were 22 degrees while I was doing testing and it would overheat. I think you're going to need to put this on a regular 4 or 5 or 6 inch frame. It's too big for that. It's too tall. Look, if you've got the space, you can do what you want. I don't think you should be putting this on a 5 inch frame. I really don't think it's for that. If you've got the space, then fine. But it's a big old VTX for that. What I will say is it's definitely chucking out a lot of RF power. And a bit of noise as well. It is worth understanding, though, and this is a point I will make on this. This VTX, remember, is only one part of the system. This is a two-way system. The RF output of the goggles is still limited to maximum at 1200 milliwatts. You know, your goggles are not outputting 2 watt of power. So it's all very well your system transmitting the signal back to you, but if it can't receive the goggles, the link is not going to stay strong. In the air, I'm not sure how much benefit this will be to people. I think ground-based, yes. I'm not so sure in the air how much this will help. Because remember, your goggles are still somewhat the limitation. That is the problem. But you're going to have to see. You know, different people in different situations, in different scenarios may find it better. This is the GT. The Grand Tour. So, yeah. Hello, Dave. How are you? David? But look, you might on a wing, you're going to want airflow over this thing, that's for sure. It does get hot. It does get hot. And I do, there's in the video that's coming, there'll be full thermals as well. You'll get all the thermal stuff. Now, I've also been flying these. Higher bit rate given the range. Yes. So I have been flying these today. Now, the first thing I can say is 2 things, and I'm going to share with you a little bit of an advanced preview. Number 1, when you go on the back of the box, it says the goggles in the box. Avatar Goggles L, microfiber cloth, user manual, power cable, and storage bag. Avatar goggles, yep, I had them. Microfiber cloth, yep, I had that. User manual, yep, I had that. Power cable, I had that. I didn't have a storage bag. So I don't know if anyone else has got a set of these. Now, these aren't pre-released. These are the factory ones. Cadex have sent these to me. They come completely sealed. I did not have a storage bag in my box for my goggles. So I don't know if anyone has bought these. Did you get a storage bag? I didn't. That's really all I can tell you. Unless it's hiding in here somewhere that I've not been able to find, but I've completely torn the box open. Overall, very interesting. Some observations. 2 things on mine. So, I did share this, and it's quite hard to show this. Let me go onto my Discord and show you. 2 things on mine, and one of these I don't really think is an issue, but I will highlight it because people may whinge about this. So, number 1, mine came, and still have, and I haven't dealt with this, I'll have to do this in the teardown, but mine came with a lump of fluff on the screen at the top, you can see there. Now, I have seen stuff like this before. It's not massively unusual. It is right at the top. You can see it there. It's like a piece of fluff or something that's on the display. It might have broke free in transit, but it is. And also, and this is quite hard to show you, and I'm not going to say this is an issue because some people will have this anyway. It will happen. Mine also have a dead pixel. And you will get this on LCD goggles. You should class this as the norm. You can see it there. It was quite hard for me to take a picture of it to show you. But on first power on, there is a dead pixel. Or a stuck pixel, actually, might be the right term. It's stuck white. You don't see it in flight. It's not visible. It's only visible in the black menus. I saw it as soon as I powered the goggles on because you're powering up to a black display. We do see this. This happened on the DJI V1 goggles. This happened on the DJI V2 goggles. You can't call this an out-and-out fault. LCD displays are always going to have this, but it is something I do want to mention and highlight, and I will discuss it in the video because people will see it and people will be freaked out by it, and people will be like, should I have it? It happens. It's normal behavior, but it's one of those things when you see it, you sort of go, oh, there's a dead pixel. That one is more the one I need to sort out. 1079p. Yes, you are correct. That one line, but you can't see it in flight at all, so it's fine. It's good. Just a couple of observations. So, has anyone here got a set? Here's a question: has anyone here got a set of these? Before I make, because I want to ask a question. They are incredibly small, I will say. I'm intrigued. I do, but I don't count. Well, no, actually, you do, Moscow. Here's a question. How is the field of view? Because here's something I've noticed, and this could be specific to me. I think they've overdone it. The lens is a little bit too zoomed in. I can't get the top and the bottom of the display in view. I have to either have the top of the display or the bottom of the display. And the natural is it to cut off the bottom of the display for me. I almost think they've overdone it on the lens. I think they should have zoomed it back a little bit more, a tiny bit. I actually really like the field of view. It's too big. It's like it's not DJI big, but it is big, which means, and what I mean about the field of view, I had to look at the OSD elements. You know, you're not going to see everything in one place. You will find yourself looking around. And I don't mind that. It's a box goggle. You do get things like that. They feel nice on the face. No complaints. But I'm finding they are naturally sitting in such a way that I'm struggling to see the bottom of the display. And that is annoying because that's where I put a lot of the icons and a lot of stuff is down there naturally. I think the lens should have been a little less zoomed. I think they should have zoomed out a touch. Mosca said, I had to place them down a bit to see the bottom. Yeah. I think they probably should have come out a little bit. I think it's slightly And look, they're not alone in this. Look, there's loads of people that have. DJI Goggles 2 are horrific on the lenses. So this isn't a criticism of Cadex versus anyone else. I think they could have zoomed a touch. I think they just overpushed it. And that's probably one comment I've got. The goggle is nice, no complaints. Getting to the SD card slot is stupid, but it's not too bad. They didn't fog up. They get ridiculously hot. And other than that, they're okay. Yeah, someone on Facebook was complaining about this, and the suggestion is to move the OSD elements. Interesting. Yes, you need to be able to move the OSD elements for sure. And I actually asked for that feature on the Goggles X as well. Cadex need to allow us to move the OSD around. Display looks nice. Colors are okay. A little bit grainy. Display, what you do notice, and this isn't a criticism of the goggles, it's just the fact of going back to an LCD, you do see a little bit of grain in the display compared to the OLED. You forget how good an OLED display looks. And you do see this on DJI as well. You do see it on the V2s when you return to them compared to, say, the Goggles 2 or the Goggles 3. You do notice it. You can zoom in and out the OSD in the goggles. Can you move the Caddx home elements? I didn't think you could move the main elements. No, that's the problem. You need to be able to shift those elements up a little bit. Just a touch. Would you compare the image quality? It's hard because you're comparing Avatar. It is a minor drop in quality compared to the OLEDs. For most people, it's fine. What's really nice is you've got a nice big field of view. And it's a nice looking image. Look, for the price, they are an absolute bargain. An incredibly cheap deal. There are some bits I need to play with more before I give a proper review, because something else I noticed is, and this might be because I haven't flown a box goggle for a while, the cut off of the lens feels very close to your face. So you sort of have a sharp cut off at the bottom. Whereas on an OLED goggle and an optics goggle, you're looking down the tunnels to the displays. This almost feels like, easy way to look at it is like there's something there. The bottom of the display is there, and you're sort of cutting it off there. I almost wonder if it's not the lens. The lens should have been bigger. You're not easily able at the top and, well, you're not able for me at the top and bottom to see anything above or below the display. If that makes sense. You're looking through a letterbox where the cut-offs are there and there. And that's somewhat what it feels like. Other than that, I think for the money, they're probably a bargain. Yeah. Entry-level cost to get into Avatar. I just need to do some more penetration testing before I tear them down on the antennas, just to check there's nothing bad going on, nothing anyone else has missed or anything like that. I always do my own tests. Settings OSD position. I didn't think you could move the Cadex one up. I just didn't think you could. Or can you move it up, but you can't move the elements? Perhaps that's what it is. I need to check. It's been a while. The TX antenna is on the patches. Yes, I have seen that mentioned. The TX antenna is on the patches, which will be good and bad in some ways. It's worth knowing and it's worth understanding. No, you can't move the Caddx OSD. There you go. Yeah, no, I've tried in and out. I think they could have made... Look, a box goggle is always going to have a compromise. But, you know, any of the criticisms are fairly low ball on this because of the price point. Yeah, we're talking about the Walk Snail home OSD for the system. So the battery voltage, the signal levels, all of that. Yeah, not a bad product. I think the light on the front is a complete waste of time. I think the light on the front is just a waste of time. I don't know why they did that. It's adding heat for no good reason. They do get surprisingly hot as well in use. Surprisingly hot in use. So that's where someone's saying they can move the home OSD. Let me have a look on mine. I don't think we can on them. I wish it was 100 hertz. Yeah, I tell you what is nice is the fact, and this was an issue, it's nice that it doesn't screw up when you select 100 hertz mode. It won't let, it just doesn't do anything. How many antennas does the Goggle L have? 4. 2 patches, 2 sort of linear antennas, small ones hiding sort of somewhere in the casing down the side. But it's got 2 patches built into the front. But you are going to... very similar to the Scout HD in many ways. Let me just have a look. So, on the Goggles X... Cool, they're loud. They are very loud. Right, guys, if you've got any questions, put it in the chat now while I wait for these to power up. Okay, so settings, display, OSD position. Yes, no, you cannot move the Cadex OSD. Cadex's OSD does not move. I hope the view is better than the Scout. The Scout or the Scout HD. I would say it's on par with the Scout HD, is what I would say. I would say, look, it's on par with that. Yes, that's right. Yeah, the mask. That's it. I didn't think you could move the... Can you customize the OSD on the goggles like you cannot customize the avatar OSD. It's something I mentioned to Cadex in the release of the Goggles X. You cannot move the factory goggle OSD. It is fixed. Still no news on the Avatar 2. No, look, nothing at all. I'm not aware of anything. Look, I doubt I'll be involved in any launches now anyway. So, look, Cadex have sent me these afterwards. These will be oh, the torch. Every time. Thank you for that. Cadex did send these, but I'm not rushing. You know, I'm not under an embargo, so I will review these when I get to them. You know, they're at the back of a pile of stuff that I've got to go through. Black marks for lateness. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about. Let me just put these to the side. Well, I think I'm in the loop or out the loop or whatever they feel like. Again, what I'm not going to do, and I'm going to be clear, is you're not going to get this kind of review that you would get on an embargo lift because most of the info's already out there, so it's pointless me doing it. Just catching down. Right. Next thing we're going to talk about is this. Now, you may think this is a Caddx gimbal, but it isn't. This is one of the XF gimbals. Now, I do have a video coming on this. This came in before the Caddx one. What I can tell you is this. The Caddx gimbal is identical to this gimbal in every way. It is the same product. I don't know what Caddx is it. This is the manufacturer, and that's what I suspect it is. This is the manufacturer, and Caddx are buying them in. This kit is one of the kits from the manufacturer, which comes with this bottom board, which has built-in head tracking, and they even sell a head tracking module. When I find it, it's here somewhere. Let me, where has it vanished to? Here it is. So they have a head tracking module that transmits the head tracking to the unit. So, for instance, if I just plug this in for a second, I haven't been able to get straight pricing because I'll show you the website and stuff now in a minute. Now, I fitted a Moonlight onto this. Now, this is available for Cadex and DJI O3. So, let me turn this on. Now, this turns on like a DJI unit, this does. You've got to double press the power button. But this is a wireless head tracking unit for it, which you can mount to your goggles. Now, it transmits on 2.4 gigs. So, you are going to have to be a bit careful. Let me just reset. There you go. So, you have 2.4 gig wireless head tracking module that you can stick to the top of your goggles. You can do it via the RC because this does have PPM output as well. But the wireless head tracking module just works. I haven't tried the range. It's 2.4 gigs and it looks a lot like Express ELRS. It isn't Express ELRS, but it's a 2.4 gig signal. It is available in an O3 kit as well. They have all three gimbals available. So you have the same one. So you have the 2-axis like we've got here. Exactly the same as the Caddx one. And we have the 1-axis as well, which is this one here. They did send me all three. We'll put it up on the display. We'll put it up in a minute. We have the single-axis one as well. Basically, I think, and I don't know for sure, I think these are the manufacturer of what Cadex are selling. That's my opinion. It's the same gimbal, but yeah, very cool. Very cool indeed. No, it's not 360. I don't know what the number is, but it's there. And it doesn't... Whoa. That was weird. Did you see that then? It didn't like that. Let me do that again. What was that? Ah, yeah, it was meant to do that. So it'll go around the other way. If you go beyond, it will try to return. Ooh, I found a quirk. Look at that. I think that needs a bit of work. So when you reach the limit, which is there, if you go beyond it, it will spin the other way to then say, oh, you've gone beyond it. If you go over the extended command range, it gets unhappy. Yeah, it definitely does that. There are a few quirks with it. One thing I noticed is that needs to be changed, in my opinion, is if you lose the head tracking signal, it leaves the camera in the same position. So, for instance, if I point it down, right, and undo the board at the back here, I've disconnected the RF board now, look, right? It leaves the gimbal pointing down. In my opinion, it should return to center on signal loss. Because if you were looking down and the signal went and you still have video, you have no way to get it to come back. So I think they need to change that. I am going to feed that back to them. Would it interfere with an RC signal? Yes, most likely. I need to give... yeah, it should definitely give you the option. I need to do a lot more testing on the RF signal, but yeah, it's on 2.4 gigs. But what it should do is recenter on signal loss, is what it should do, just back to center. But the head tracking is... This is not Cadex. No. Now, this is these guys here. Let me bring it up. It is available here for sale on AliExpress, but the manufacturer for this, and I'm just trying to find it, 2 seconds and I'll bring it up, because I found their website the other day. It took me a while to find their website. They didn't have a good website, but now they do. Let me just find it. Found them. Okay. So. Their website was working properly. Now it is. There we go. Okay, here we go. So this is their website, right? They do an O3 version as well, which is just the cameras pre-wired, and they include another piece with it as well, which I'll show you in a minute. So this is their website. They've got a new website available now. They've got all sorts of other gimbals, but they've got these FPV gimbals. So you can click on the FPV gimbals here. It shows you the 3 versions. It does have a PPM port on it as well, so you can route it to your transmitter if you don't want to use the RF board. Yeah, I did mention that earlier. It does have PPM. So they also have a lot of really good info on here. They have the download section, has all of the manuals. So the downloads has the gimbal specification, all of the manuals now. You can go into head tracker, so they show you the head tracker unit. So there's the head tracker unit there. I don't know if it's the same firmware. So price-wise, so let's have a look. So if we search for... Let's see what comes up. It's quite hard to find these. I don't know when they're going to be C-20. I don't know when they're going to be selling these where it'll be easy to get them. Because they're not coming up there. I think Cadex are rebadging this. Did you see that Mosca has added support for serial control through iNav? I think it'll be iNav 8. That's really cool. I haven't really found this easy to find. C20T. It is on AliExpress. They are on places like this as well. I don't expect these to be more money than Cadex. So they've got it there for $119, shipped from China. I don't know why that is set to that. Let's save and see what comes up. $135 for the 3-axis. I don't know what Cadex are charging. What are Cadex charging for the 3-axis? Let's have a look. But this might not be the official store either, so you got to take that into account. So, Cadex sale. Look. So, what's the GM3 no camera? 144 for Cadex, and this is 135. Are there markings or writing anyway? No, they're identical. They're identical in every way. Absolutely. I have the Cadex gimbal here as well, and it is identical in every way. Even down to the PCB design. It is the same unit. Does it include MIPI? Yes. Yes, mine came with the MIPI cables. So the standard ones came with so the only one that doesn't come with a MIPI is the single access. So so this is the standard one, which comes with the DJI standard or Cadex. And then the 03 one comes pre-wired with 03. So this comes, the 3-axis comes with it's just the 03 cable. But it also has a bracket for 03 for the camera. It includes this piece here. That you mount your 03 camera to. So it's available for that, and then the board allows all of the I/O. I've got a Caddx one here I haven't even opened. I also have a Caddx one that a user sent me, which I need to send back because he was going to lend me one, and then Caddx sent me one. I have this is a lone Caddx one that a user sent me. This is the 2-axis. This one. The Avatar MIPI works on DJI. Yes. So you can use the Caddx MIPI cable for DJI FPV, but you can't use the DJI FPV MIPI cable. Yes, it is different to the HEQ. You can't use the DJI MIPI cable on Caddx. Yeah, they're the same units. You know, they are just identical in every way. No, the 03 MIPI cable is not the same. 03 is different. It's larger pinned. So DJI FPV and the Caddx MIPI cable are the same pins. They're both 30 pin connectors. You can't use the DJI MIPI because DJI don't wire 30. DJI only wire 26, whereas Caddx wire all 30. Is there an adapter needed for the DJI cable? No, you just plug the DJI cable in. The DJI FPV, so the Caddx Vista Runcam Link and the ear unit, is the same cable as Avatar HD. Yeah, you could route your own. It's not hard. You just have to strip the gimbal sides off. It's all unscrews. It's doable. Is the DJI mounting... No, the DJI mounting is the same. It just comes with a piece to hold the camera differently. There's not even labels on the boards on these. You know, when you look at the board on these units, if we screw in, they're just black PCB manufactured. That's just really. You do have a little thing down there which is main. No, there's nothing. No manufacturer's hint at all. Not whatsoever. They even thing the ICs, look. They may be even bought in by a third party. What I do like about these compared to the other gimbal, you could definitely put a HD0 camera in there. Yeah, no reason you couldn't. It is smaller than the HEQ. HEQ have done a lot of updates on their gimbals. I got a message from HEQ the other day. They've released a lot of software updates for the HEQ gimbal. If you've got the HEQ and you haven't updated it, make sure you update it. With a thumb. No, you're not going to get a thumb on it. No. No, it'll only take a 19 by 19 is all it'll take. You could absolutely put a HD0 camera on. As for modifying the, you know, look, if you want to talk about swapping the cable. So to swap the cable. So if you look at the routing of the cable. So the routing of the cable goes through this side here. So you would need to pop off that cover. I've not done it. I don't know how easy it comes off. And then you would have to undo the back cover and find a way to get it through. It's manufactured, so it is absolutely doable. At the end of the day, you may have to strip the gimbal to do it, but it is doable. I will say that this bracket mounting system is horrific on the 2-axis. I have no idea what drugs people was... they have... Yeah, they do have a video for doing it. Yes, that's a point. They do. It's a nice gimbal. They have on their website video center. There are hard rotation limits, so they're not 360. It is physically limited. 03 version installed, base plate, standard version, integrated base plate. Coaxial cable replacement. There you go, look. So they've got a video on how to replace the cable.
Remove the pitch axis left side cover.
There you go. That just pops off. Here it is.
Disconnect the connector. Pick up the sticker from one side.
Okay.
Disconnect the connector.
Ah, so they're showing how to replace the main cable, but not the MIPI. But it's the same process. You just wouldn't need to undo all of those cables. So you just pop the side cover off. And yeah, they're showing you how to replace their cable that goes through. You won't need to do that, I don't think. There's a bit of work, but they show you how to do it. Can you tell if there are Hall sensors? Looking at what I've seen here, it's gyros. As far as I can see, you got a gyro board on everything here. If you look at that, that looks like a gyro. I haven't checked, but it looks like a gyro. Yeah, you don't need to replace the gimbal lead to replace the MIPI. No, exactly. You don't need to go all the way through that far. But yeah, you just follow the process. Yeah, so. It knows the limits because it's a physical limit. The gimbal is physically limited. So it can't move beyond its limits. So on the overhead, here we go. It can only rotate to there. It cannot rotate beyond. It is physically limited on the pitch and the yaw. And those ways there. So it is limited how far it can go. No, I don't think it detects them. It just comes up against them. What it tries to do is it comes up against them and just won't go further. At the end of the day, it's a small basic gimbal. You know, there's only so much it can do in a package of this size. So, yeah, it'll just stop and say, go no further. It'll have either current sensing or it'll just stop. Yeah. It'll just go, no. It is very smooth on the head tracker. I'll be honest. I was using it in here and I have had it out on the buggy. And with this head tracker, it is very smooth. You've got your PPM output over there as well if you want to. Or you can use the wireless head tracker module. Yeah, it's surprisingly nice. I do like this little board setup as well. For like, this is going on the car and rover. This is quite nice. Yeah, there's always look, unless it's got slip rings, it's always going to have a limit. They got a choice of where they put the limit. You know, you could run the gimbal there. If you wanted to be able to see behind, you could run the gimbal at that point there being forward and then have a limit or run it at that point there being forward. They use slip rings. They use PCBs to get around it. DJI do some clever stuff on the... if I recall, you had 270 degrees on the Inspire 2. Use a rear view mirror. Yeah. Or another gimbal. Coil flex. Yeah, there's loads of ways. Slip rings, coil flex. You can do it a number of different ways. Yes. But no. They are looking good. They are identical, though, in every way. And what I actually like is there's a lot more information in their instructions and stuff. So, quite interesting indeed. Quite interesting indeed. Okay, first of all, I just want to say a big thank you to Dave for the £5 super chat. That's incredible, my friend. The stabilization from the gimbal itself is pretty amazing. Running on a 6mm Jav, which is pretty spicy. Yeah, I've not flown these. I'm probably going to concentrate on these on ground vehicles, if I'm honest. No, I haven't been using the CNC yet because I've been dealing with all of this crap that's come in. This week has thinged. I have some time off this week where I'll be doing the CNC stuff because I need to get it all outside, not in here. It's, yeah, I think what's a bit... Cadex have released firmware updates for their gimbals. These guys haven't released firmware yet. They do show, though, a full configuration app, which isn't available on their website. But they do show it in the instructions that there will be a full configuration app. HEQ have also done a load of updates on theirs, and that's worth a look too. The HEQ gimbal... they are pushing ahead with updates on theirs. I'm trying to see if they've got the software updates on here. They sent me an email to say we've released new software, but I just not support. Is it under here? Ah, here we go. Gimbal Assistant and Manual. Yeah, they have a new version here. Yeah, see, here we go. We have... Oh, G-Port Assistant. There's a new version there. 6 days ago. New firmware here. Yeah. Take one out. Idle. One of them will be flown. It's just, the problem is, it's a lot of work to mount one of these things, as AVI will tell you. They're not sort of out-the-box mountable. None of these are easily. They all need work. You're going to have to print something. Surprising how much work I had to do on the HEQ to get it out there, actually. I may even take it on the same bird. What about the guy having a 3D printed gimbal taken down on Caddex's Facebook group? They're a manufacturer. They'll control what they want posted on their own group. They removed one of my they removed a post from my video where I was complaining. So VHB. Any that was restored. Oh, was it? I never noticed. Look, at the end of the day, a manufacturer will do what they want on their own group. That's a reality. Look, people, you can't bitch and moan on a manufacturer's group of them removing posts they don't like. You can highlight it and you can say that's not the right way to behave, but at the end of the day, it's their own group. They can do what they want. You can't really bitch and moan about it. You can sort of say, oh, that's interesting. Do you know what I mean? That's not the best way of handling things, but many companies will remove stuff. You know, that is what it is. They're entitled to do what they want on their own group. That's why we all have the freedom to have our own groups and places and look, you know, no one manufacturer is bad, no one manufacturer is good. Cadex makes some good products. They also do stupid stuff. You know, look, I am holding myself back from letting go on something relating to something they said. And I'll be honest, they've done it again. They've done it again. And they've done the same thing they always do, and it is weeks and weeks later, and nothing has changed. And I'm tired of being the only one who is really calling them out, because I'm the one who is getting the crap for it. And everyone else runs around and says, you know, everything's great, they're amazing. And, you know, I'm not saying they're bad, but they really need to change their behavior on some things, because it's just stupid. Let me see if I can find it. This bullshit. This utter bullshit. This post, which was, we did it! We're amazing! We're fantastic! We listened! This post came out after I made a load of noise because I highlighted that these things hadn't been addressed. And what happened on the 4th of July? What's the fucking date today? The fucking date is a month later. A month later, and nothing has changed. Yet it is another public, quieten down everyone, nothing to see here, nothing to worry about post, we've listened. Well, no, they haven't listened. They've put another marketing bullshit post out without delivering. And again, they've done the same thing that they do time and time again. But I'm not going to rant about it. It's the same shit every time. Now, I really appreciate working with brands, including Cadex. I actually think they do some good stuff. I think they really have pushed FPV on a little bit as well. A lot. They've given great options. They've done things that we didn't have. Gimbals. Look at the VTXs. 2-watt VTX. This thing is, you know, this is a very good thing. A very good thing for FPV. The whoops, the lights, it's all good. But cut the fucking bullshit. Cut the crap out, because you're making it too easy. You're just making it too easy, because this is the problem. This is the issue. Stop taking a gun. Stop going to the shop and buying 5 guns and shooting yourself in the face every time, because that's what you do here. That's what you're doing. It's mental. You know, this post is a month ago. We're going to have an analog module come in. We've solved all the problems. We've listened. There's going to be a head tracker board. Where is it? Here's a really simple rule. Don't say anything until it's ready. Just don't. This was a backlash, remember? Look, be under no illusion. This was a backlash off the fact that I put a video out saying 6 months later, 1 year later. And that's fine. Solved is fine. Well, what's solved? You know, so, look. You know, it's yeah, I'll probably get demonetized for that one. But I ain't gonna rant. I'm gonna leave it there, because I just get called out for being the guy that all he does is complain about them. Overall, because we'll wrap up Cadex now, I actually like the Goggles L. Some quirks, but nothing major. Just a few little things. You know, what is actually incredible, and I will finish on this, the price of these goggles is insane. I am astonished how they have managed to do the goggles for this price. You know, the 199, 155 in the UK, longer exposure, I have no idea. 199 is insane. Is insane money. It really is. Did someone say earlier Fat Shark have reduced their price on their equivalent as well? Did someone say that had happened? Incredible value. Best, cheapest way to get into digital FPV today. No, the light bar's not RGB. No, it's pointless. It shouldn't be there. It adds to the heat. They do get a bit warmer than I'd like. But it's a nice goggle. No complaints. Great value. Couple of little things that I think could have been improved. Lens. You need to be... I think they just overshot it a little bit on the lens. Other than that, I think it's a good goggle. No, you know, for the money. Avatar HD for $199. You know, $399. You're talking digital FPV for less than $300. You're into analog territory now. Am I getting the DJI SDR? I don't know, Cine Ghost. I've been tempted. It's just a lot of money to spend out. I don't know. I'd like to make some content on it. I would genuinely like to make some content on it. What's the price of the Integras? Weren't they $350 or $400? DJI Integras. DJI Integra. They were a lot more than this. They weren't as cheap as this. 405. See, a lot more. But they are still an OLED goggle, remember. The Integras are still an OLED. You know, the Integras are not really a cheaper goggle in the sense of they saved huge money on them. Still a lot more than, you know, a box goggle. We'll have to see what DJI do release. They may make an interesting box goggle. Who knows? Who knows? So, as for the SDR, yeah, they were definitely down to 350 for a while. No, you can't compare them. They're very different goggles. They're very different goggles. You know, these are an O3 light goggle. Not even that. In many ways, they're better than the Recon is now 169. What, the Recon HD is now 169. Wow. On Rotor Riot. Wow. That's cheap. Thank you, Render, for the $4.99 super chat. Nothing to answer, but you just say thank you, keep doing what you do. Thank you for that. Any news on 04? No, you won't really get news on 04 until probably October, November time at the earliest. There won't be much. It's well off yet. I am tempted, though, to order in... I guess HD0 really need to do a budget goggle again now. HD0 really does need to do a budget goggle. Someone said to me the other day, you know, it was an interesting question. Someone said, you know, why don't people talk about it? You know, why don't you ever make content on HD0? I do when something happens, and I actually have a video coming on the Eco. It's been a bit longer coming than I thought it was going to be. It's not really a product I would usually cover, but I am looking at it sort of from a technical standpoint as well. The problem sort of with HD0 is not a lot changes. You don't get this, like, we got, you know, Cadex shit out hardware every week. Love it or hate it, that keeps them being talked about. DJI are a big brand. They have the Emax. Yeah, that's a point. Yeah, I forgot about the Emax. Avatar has a long way to go. You know, look, the one thing to remember about Avatar is, you know, it isn't their system. So, you know, HD Zero's advantage is Carl is the designer. DJI's advantage is DJI is the designer. Avatar still remains a off-the-shelf product that, you know, they're repackaging, they're SDK-ing, they're developing, and there's no question they've developed it. And I'll be honest, whoever designed this knows their RF chops. I'm not saying it's perfect, but this is on a complete other level on design to anything they've done before. It's on a complete different design. But they are also you know, crapping out hardware every week is a term I'll use. I'm going to have a sip of my cold tea. HD0 is, like, if you want the lowest latency, it's HD0. There's no question. There's no argument. There's no, and it even looks really nice. And they have a firm foothold now, yeah, in racing. Definitely. Carl has definitely achieved that. One S VTX version 1 on version 3 on my Whoop and Micros keeps failsafe in at 3.3 over 40% throttle. Look, doing these digital VTXs on 1S is really hard. The problem is this. These VTXs need... the manufacturers can't change easily the minimum voltages that they need. There are ICs... there are memory modules that need 3.3 5 volt to work. There is only so much that Cadex can do on running on a low voltage. Again, because they're within the hardware limitations of the hardware they're using. You know, it is actually quite crazy they've got these working at low voltage. 1S will brown out at 3.1. Yeah. You know, look, it's not as simple as the AV in on the V1s. Yeah, there's a few analog adapters. They all work the same. Just pick one of them. There's nothing particularly special about it for the V2s. My 203s quickly flash black on arm. Yeah, they will do. That's normal. It's okay. The latency. I can't tell you if it's... The problem is a cheap box goggle could be as bad. So I can't really tell you about a cheap box goggle that will give you lower latency. I can't say they're going to be necessarily better. There is a little bit of latency on the V2s. Avatar just changed the smear behind any obstacle. Yeah, look, Avatar is... Look, the RF link is years behind DJI. That's not in debate. It is years behind with regards to image redundancy. DJI is so far ahead. It is insane. And I ain't talking Avatar 2 will catch up. I don't think Avatar 10 could catch up to where DJI is today. You have to understand that DJI own the stack. They have millions of drones flying every day. loads of data. They own the ASIC. They own the codec. They are just in another league. And Avatar 2 isn't going to catch up to 03. Avatar 2 will probably get closer, but it's still not going to be as good as 03 for penetration. And then we'll get 04, which will push it further ahead again. DJI is, you know, it is like, it is akin to, it is very much akin to Microsoft and Qualcomm trying to catch up to the Apple M series. It's just going to be so hard for them to do it. Qualcomm can make a chip. Microsoft can make an OS. Those two together right now are pumping out Copilot-based laptops all over the world. But it ain't an M2. It ain't an M3. It ain't an M4. It's DJI are a fully integrated stack top to bottom, and that gives them an incredible advantage. It just does. But a V2 avatar system will be good to see. It will be good to have another step. Cadex's big problem might be what they've sold it on. Because Cadex, remember, have sold it on being capable of 20 kilometers. Well, people are easily doing that now. Cadex's big problem is this can do that. So, I'm not sure if Cadex have sort of already outdone what they promised. What was it? 20 kilometers range and something else. You can fly DJI on a small aircraft. You can't do it on a Whoop. Quick question. I just fail-safe from an oversiege on my 1S Avatar VTX. DVR says 26 amps all at once. I definitely burn up the VTX. Do you think I burn up my FC as well? Unlikely, but look, it's hard to know. I can't comment. It might have. It might have. It's going to be 50-50. It's pure gamble. FCs tend to survive quite well, though. Will DJI release a nighttime camera? Unlikely. I'm talking blackness. No, DJI isn't interested in. DJI is a camera drone company. O3 moves around a lot. Where O3 hangs on better is at low bit rate. It'll keep going on 1 megabit a second for quite a long time. Could I link to my wiki? Yes. Link to the wiki. Boo. Pinned. PS, if you send anything back to DJI out of warranty, just keep complaining about the cost until they discount it. Nice play. Is the Goggles L Mobo the same as the Goggles X? Could we use head? No. No, it's not the same. OpenIPC deep dive. When? I've seen nothing in OpenIPC today that I really am ready to talk about. I wouldn't mind looking at the hardware and having a try, but there is no way in hell I am giving my personal details to that project to get it posted to me. I have seen some interest in the third-party hardware. If I was getting into FPV today, what system would I choose? Probably Avatar HD is what I would recommend. If you're getting in from scratch, get yourself a set of Goggles L. Get yourself a Whoop or one of the cheap VTXs. No, we don't do PO boxes in the UK for parcels. It's not easy to do. Goggles L and a cheap VTX, $300. Cheapest way to get into digital FPV now. It used to be the Scout HDs and HD0. How much are the HD0, Emax HD0? Transporter 2 HD0s, 217. So they're still more expensive. Yeah. Just a big, it's $30 more for the Emax goggle, look. $40 more. Never tried these. Yeah, Royal Mail PO boxes are no good because no one sends anything by Royal Mail to the UK. Everything comes by courier or freaking whatever, Every or everything else. What you need is somewhere like a thing address, but no, Royal Mail post box is no good. So Goggles L isn't upgradable once Walk Snail drop a V2 unlike. Real Joe, upgradable is a debatable term. I would argue the first goggle is upgradable because all it needs is a single board replacement. There is no reason the V1 goggle couldn't receive a new board because Cadex could make it. So it's as upgradable as the V1 goggle, as Cadex had largely decided that the V1 wasn't getting upgraded. I think the stance will be the same for this. It is interesting, and I will say this, and this will be going into the video, that Cadex chose to release a budget box goggle now when they were saying they were about to release a new system. What I would guess is they will have some decent backwards compatibility. Can I ask, is it possible to convert the electronics from a DJI Avata to an O3 unit? Okay. Technically, yes, but reality, no. Basically, no. Look. Can the Avata 2 be made to think it's an O3 Air unit? Yes. Is there a way of pumping OSD in? Is there a way of doing it? No. It is technically possible by a man I know who has done it, who is also a man who has done things that most people can never do. It is as doable as being able to program your TV to... I don't know. It's as doable as programming your microwave to become a kettle, I guess. And I'm not going to say who. It has been done, but there's no I/O. And the reason it's possible is this. The Avata and O3 are basically the same hardware, excluding an ESC and a GPS and all the other hardware. But it's not something you can do. And if you did have the answer to do it, you'd be releasing a root hack for DJI FPV. Put the water in a cup. Can you just switch the connectors on the Goggles X so the bottom antenna is TXRX so it's pointing? Yes, you can. As long as the coax is long enough, just swap it round. Port 1 is the transmission port on the PCB. So yes, you can swap one of them around. Playing Doom on your microwave. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, turning it into a kettle is quite easy. It is a kettle. I was being stupid there. Yeah, basically, it's programming your microwave to play Doom. It is not an EE unit in the Avata. It is a completely custom board. Technically, it's got the same processor. Technically, it's got the same ASIC. But it has been done. I actually know this has been done. But it's not something you're going to do. I'm using an SMA on my 5-inch 03. Any downside to using one left hand and one right hand? No. No, actually, it's probably an upside. To be honest. Because remember, the Goggles 2, Integras, and Goggles 3 all have linear polarized antennas. Look, Mike, I'm not being funny. It is, if you were capable of creating a route hack for 03 or the Avata, then it would be possible. Technically, you can make sand count. Yeah. Yeah. People keep always asking me, can you take the 04A unit out of the Avata 2? There's no 04A unit in an Avata 2. There is a board, but it's designed to do its one thing. Okay. Now, from a subject point of view, I've covered everything I was going to cover tonight. If you guys have any questions, put them in now. If you have any further questions, I should say. This week, you may have seen just a couple of things on my end while I'm talking. You probably saw this week, I put out the 2 videos. I put out the DJI one. I also put out the Goggles X repair. That's now done as well. Quite a long video, that one. Interesting couple of weeks on remote controls. Thoughts on new dual band Gemini? I haven't tried them. It's nice to see. Will Banggood ever ship my drone? Sorry, I can't answer that. Wild question. Would a variable latency analog system with retransmission work? No. Because retransmission, analog doesn't know what it's missing. So you have to remember, analog is like firing a torch at a wall. The easiest term for me to explain analog is you have a torch in your hand and you're shining it across at a wall. And then you're shining it down another layer, and you're shining it down another layer. It is what it is. It is literally writing the line as it hits the screen. It has no way of knowing what it's missing. It's already moved on. The key to digital is you're taking a image, you're packing that image up into a box. You're then sealing that box and sending that box in the post. What the receiver does with that box is before they even open it, it looks at it and goes, oh, the seal has been tampered with. The seal is open. This may mean that parts of it are missing. It then looks at the manifest of the box and says, oh, there's one item missing, and sends a message back to say, can you send me that one item? Whereas analog is just, it's already there. What are your hobbies when you're not doing drone stuff? I'm never not doing drone stuff, but I've always been big into the PC industry. So the 2 Gamers Nexus, I do watch a lot of LTT, Linus. Catch up on Jay's 2 Cents, Paul's Hardware. Big listener of Asianometry channel. Huge listener of Asianometry. Massive Massive fan. If you want to see my subscript, look, here is what you will see. I tell you what I've been watching a lot of as well. So here you go. This tells you what I watch. So this is my subscriptions. So see how he is there, look. Northwest Repair. Actually Hardcore Overclocking. The Coder. Drive Tribe, obviously. Deepom's Electronic Repair. But the main subscriptions, Asianometry, this is one of the best channels I listen to. This is a phenomenal channel. Honestly, this is a phenomenal channel. If you want to see my history, just this will always give you an idea. So I don't know what that was. That was something, an ad that come up. I was looking for a new tent, if you were interested. But look, I don't remember watching that. Watching some interviews, actually. I was watching some interviews earlier. Bit of Rick Beato. How much YouTube paid me for 6 million views? I was looking at this earlier when we were talking about it on my Discord. So, yeah. Bit of everything. How enforced are FAA laws? Do I have to follow them? Well, they're law. It's your choice if you follow it. You follow it just like you choose to follow the speed limit in the country you live in. It is the same enforced law as that. It's the same type. Oh, thank you, Rejoel. Thank you for the super chat. Let's celebrate their first... Yeah, thank you for the 10 CHF. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Dark mode should be a crime. No, dark mode should be a crime. FAA laws are as enforced as you choose. Should I get remote ID? Look, if the law says you should have remote ID, you should have it. Will you be found out for flying without it? Probably not. You then make a decision of how important that is to you. Dark mode is life. Dave's Garage, and you need some Dave's Garage. I've been listening to some good garage guys, watching a lot of shorts on will DJ be banned? Probably. In the end, probably. I think it's not clear yet. I still don't think it's clear. I think there's a very, very real chance that something will happen. But look, the US politics has to settle first. I actually think if Trump gets in, DJI won't get banned. As I have already said, I think you'll see China. I told him how bad they were. I told Mr. Zing he needs to stop. He listened. I fixed China. China listened. I talked to him like a hard man. I fixed it. China's good. China's now sorted. We fixed it. But it will be more like China bad. China bad. I fixed it. I told Mr. Zing. I told President Zing he needs to stop. Stop with the spying on our children. Stop with it. I told him. He listened. We had a man-to-man discussion, and it's all been fixed. I don't know what will happen if Harris gets in. I generally don't. Does the DJI ban include O3A unit? If DJI get banned, it will include every product that they make, including ground-based products. But let's wait and see. In the meantime, you might want to get your DJI Robot Vacuum before you're not allowed to buy it. The only thing it probably couldn't stop is DJI Power. because there's actually nothing wireless in that thing. What's a new project you're working on? I wish I had time. At the moment, all of my new projects involve FPV, which is things like this. Yeah, it's a big old thing, the new one is. I'm not convinced it will happen. Genuinely, I think it could, but I travel all the time. I think helis are interesting. They just tend to like to remove limbs. Yeah. When DJI release a vacuum? Some point this year. They are meant to be releasing a robot vacuum. Helis love to destroy themselves very quickly. Have I tested S-Bus on Express ELRS? No, I haven't. I owned an RC heli forum and store. They're expensive and dangerous. Everyone's favourite combination. Sounds like a good wife. Will Radio Master come out with a T20-like form factor radio? I don't know. I don't really see them going that way. The T20 is a bit of a weirdie. A bit of a weird one. I'm not a big fan of the short radio. Expensive and dangerous. I like that term. New gamepad style radio would be nice. Yeah, look, radio seems to have hit a bit of a stop. Not as much as I liked. I used to be a heavy gamer when I was a kid. Big style. Not so much. My boy is now. I don't get time. I don't get time outside of this room. Look, this is quite an interesting conversation to finish up. And what people don't realise is any spare time I have that's not with the family ends up in this room testing something that's been sent. Just to give you an idea, right? That's like 3 or 4 hours of my life gone. You know, people think, right, you get sent stuff, it's great. And it is nice. Look, it is very nice that I get to try stuff out. But please don't think for 1 minute it's all bells and happy whistles. You know, it's all great. Sometimes you've got to spend 2, 3, 4 hours messing with something just to get it to work. You know, take the Goggles X review. I spent like 70 hours in my personal time doing that. It takes a lot of time. I don't really get to fly anymore for pleasure. I just don't. I don't have time. The downside to doing this kind of thing is you stop doing what you enjoy because you spend all your time doing something else. Making content is hugely time consuming. It is dramatically time consuming. And like, I don't want you to think, oh, the YouTuber complaining. It's not what I'm complaining. I don't. I love doing it. I enjoy making content. But there is no question that making content takes up a lot of the time that you would usually be just flying the hobby. And that's just a fact. You know, if the only way I could do is go to once a month video. Go to a video a month. A video a month. Hello, greetings from Venezuela. How are you? Vlog style stuff, yeah, you know, that's... Yeah, I'm not aware of any version 2 HD0 goggle. I spent a lot of time with my kid modding consoles. I've done a lot of console modding, repairs. I was also big into HF radio. I was an amateur radio, so I was messing around with a lot of, in the very early days, when USB meant something different. For those who know what USB really means, and it ain't a freaking port, right? For those who really know what USB means, I spent a lot of time messing around with 27 megs and 26 megs on Sept. I'm putting up very big Yagi beams in my back garden that make these little antennas look pathetic. You know, I want to fly a wing with an 18-foot Yagi on the back. You know, pumping a kilowatt through some borrowed military coax, which has an outer sheath like copper pipe. Corrugated outer sheath, solid copper, trying to terminate that with a PL259. You never forget this stuff. You never forget this stuff. And then slinging a wire up a tree and then trying to tune it. Yeah, no, look, I need to rewrite. You get Discord, whatever happens. There is a Patreon section on Discord that no one ever talks in, but it is there. But you get Discord, whatever happens. You don't have to pay me my Patreon to join Discord. If you want to support the channel, you can pay the Patreon without joining the channel. You don't have to support the channel. Support the channel via Patreon if you want to support the channel. Don't do it to get access to the Discord. Just come join the Discord. The best conversation in the Discord is outside of the Patreon area. Don't worry about that. It's not gatekeeped. Yeah. Is there an easy way to live stream FPV flying? Not really. There still isn't today. The only simplest way is actually DJI, because you could screen share. Lower 10 meters, lol. Yeah, and I used to mess around fixing HF sets, replacing power transistors, repairing amplifiers with big valves, stupid transformers that had melted themselves, with big EL259, EL529 valves off the top of my head. Is it EL529? Might be EL529s or 509s. Could be EL509s. Some big amplifiers with some nice big valves in. That's when you were messing around with a kilowatt of RF output. Yeah. Best way to do it is streaming from Goggles 3. Hello, James. How are you? Right. I'm going to wrap this one up there. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who joined me tonight. Thank you for the super chats. If you'd like to support the channel, there are links to my Patreon as well as Buy Me a Coffee in the description. There's also a link to my Discord there if you'd like to join. Look after yourselves. Thank you for spending some time with me. We will be back again, same time, same place, this time next week. I think. We might not be. I don't know. I might be away. Look after yourselves, and I will speak to you guys soon.